The Fed came out and finally admitted some things when it comes to the economy.
That's a rich, meaty, juicy answer.
They came out and said some juicy stuff that we're going to go over. And of course, like the Fed always does, they actually said some things that maybe you didn't catch. And of course, the Fed being the Fed said some things that probably went over your head, or said some things where they didn't want to come out and really say what they mean. But we're going to go over it, guys. This is some good stuff. This is something that you definitely need to watch all the way through, because I promise you, this is the information that will affect you when you're trying to buy a home, affect you if you're trying to look for a job, affect you just in buying things and seeing how expensive things will come and will be in the future. So my name is Orlando. Welcome to the channel, guys. Please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. Let's jump into it.
Although inflation has been moderating in recent months, the process of getting inflation back down to 2% has a long way to go and is likely to be bumpy. As I mentioned, the latest economic data have come in stronger than expected, which suggests that the ultimate level of interest rates is likely to be higher than previously anticipated.
Finally! Finally, the Fed is coming out and saying to themselves, oh no, getting inflation down to 2%, it's going to be a little bit harder than we thought. And we've been talking about this on the channel. I've been hitting my head up against the desk saying, how can they not see this? How can they think to themselves that it's going to be so easy to get the inflation down to 2%? And now the Fed is coming out saying,
oh, okay, hey guys, listen. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit harder than we thought, and for some odd reason, in the economy, people are spending more than what we thought that they would. And yeah, the way that we thought this was gonna go was, we thought that individuals would see interest rates go up a little, and they would just stop spending altogether.
Well, Mr. Fed, it doesn't work that way. And on top of that, your businesses, your guys who are giving credit, they're full. They're in hog heaven with the amount of money that they're making.
Tax cuts for the rich? Hell yeah. I'm rich as
So much debt is being provided right now to the everyday consumer, and easy debt on top of that, that a lot of Americans are overspending. Not only are they overspending, but they're buying the things that they want, not just things that they need. They're going out buying everything that they want because this easy credit is available. And with you raising interest rates, how did you not see that credit card companies would take advantage of this situation? They are charging up to 26% interest rate on credit card debt, and individuals are just paying the minimum, guys, to get by and not pay off the full amount. Because here's the thing, just because someone gets approved for $50,000 doesn't mean that they have $50,000 to pay that off. I know, what? Orlando, what? That's crazy. But that's how the credit card companies are getting by. They know that you will be indebted to them forever trying to pay off $50,000 for the next 20 years because you don't have that money in savings. I'm not going to go on that tangent, so we're just going to get back into the video. But here, let's see what else the Fed has to say.
If the totality of the data were to indicate that faster tightening is warranted, we'd be prepared to increase the pace of rate hikes. Restoring price stability will likely require that we maintain a restrictive stance of monetary policy for some time.
So basically what the Fed is saying on this one is, he's saying that, yeah, you know what? If we look at the data and that you guys are out there continuing spending, even though inflation is super, super high, yeah, we're going to have to start raising rates more frequently. Just like in 2022, when we raise interest rates almost every month, yeah, we're going to have to go back to that. Just so you know, we're going to continue doing that until we reach our goal, getting it down to 2% inflation. But guys, listen, this isn't a secret. And I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to get my point across. This isn't a secret. This is, to me, like Econ 101. It makes sense. I mean, if you have people continuing to spend through inflation, even though that they're using credit, it's not going to help. You have to continue to raise interest rates. I've been an advocate of the Fed doing this a year ago when I was doing videos and saying, I don't know why the Fed is only doing 50 basis points. And then reports were coming out that he was only going to do 0.25 basis points. Like, what? 25 basis points? What? It didn't compute. It didn't make sense of why the Fed would decide to do so little and just, toting the lie. He's like on the fence of everything. Look, Fed, you either want to get rid of inflation or you don't. You can't get rid of inflation by just,
I'm gonna sprinkle in a little rate increase here and there.
and then as soon as he sees one piece of data that says inflation is going down in this sector, he just stops all rate increases. It doesn't work that way. If you're gonna fight inflation, especially as aggressive as he's saying, guys, listen, this is an aggressive goal. An aggressive goal is getting inflation down to 2%. So do you think you can be that aggressive with your goal, but not be aggressive with the rate increases? No, you can't. You can't do that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Everybody knows that, right? Everybody knows you can't do that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And it's no different in this scenario. Either raise rates aggressively or don't do it at all and let inflation run us over. Which one is it? But the Fed is super scared. And what is he scared about? Oh, the dreadful recession that we're already in. It's crazy, but let's continue on.
Restoring price stability is essential to set the stage for achieving maximum employment and stable prices over the longer run. The historical record cautions strongly against prematurely loosening policy. We will stay the course until the job is done.
So I will do anything that I possibly can, anything within my power to get inflation down to 2%. That's what he's saying. That is the whole goal. But guys, listen, what is that telling you guys for the future? That tells you that rate increases are going to happen. That tells you, he even slid in there maximum employment. Well, what does maximum employment mean? He didn't really say. Well, that means that maximum employment in his eyes is we're probably over. I mean, if you read between the lines of what he said previously, he said multiple times that too many people have jobs. So you know that unemployment is going to go up. We know that, right? He said it. It's right there. What does that also mean? That means that rates are going to continue to go. That means credit cards, auto loans, mortgages, everything is going to go up, and it's going to continue to go up until he gets inflation down to where he wants to get it to. Now, he's also saying that he will do this longer. So what does that mean? That means a year, 2 years? Well, we don't know, but we do know that he will do this until we get to 2%. So if we follow this dotted ball of every month seeing inflation go down and down and down, when will it stop? At 2%. And when we get inflation down to 2%. And I tell you guys, I say this over and over and over. Getting from 8 to 6, that's nothing. Getting down from 6 to 5, a little bumps here and there. That 5 to 2, woo, it's going to be tough. It's going to take a lot of juice from the Fed of raking up hikes to get us to that 2% where they want to be.
Your testimony before the committee, is it fair to say that you'll do whatever is necessary to tame inflation?
We serve a dual mandate, and we will do what we can, everything we can to restore price stability while also serving maximum employment. And
primarily that means additional rate increases, would it not? What other tool do you have?
That's what we have. The balance sheet, the shrinkage of the balance sheet will continue too, but it's principally rate hikes.
So the question is, when does that part of doing anything necessary to tame inflation, come into conflict with your other mandate of maximum employment?
Now, this is an interesting question because the Fed is continuing to say this word maximum employment. And what he's basically saying there without really saying it is he is going to keep individuals employed that align with the amount of getting inflation down to the 2% range, right? So what does that mean? That means he's not saying it, but people will have to lose jobs. That's what he said. He's not going to say, I'm going to fire people or people don't need the jobs. What he's going to say is something along the lines of, look, we're going to have to get inflation down to 2%. Maximum employment with getting inflation down to 2% is, unemployment of 4.5%. And right now we're at 3. So maximum employment is 4.5% at a 2% inflation. And right now, we're currently at 3% unemployment, and we're at 6-something% inflation. So just look at that, guys. The Fed is saying, even though he's playing some word salad here, he's playing some word salad here. He is literally telling you, I'm going to make sure unemployment goes up. I am going to make sure that 3 million people will lose their jobs. He's telling you this. And this is the reason why it's so important for you guys to see videos like this. Because if you would have just been watching this, you wouldn't have thought that he's talking about raising unemployment and people getting fired. You wouldn't have thought that. You would have thought, oh yeah, he's just trying to get inflation. And then you would have gotten surprised when you're like, oh man, I got laid off or whatnot. And this is so important for individuals who are trying to buy a house. You buy a house and you get laid off. And you bought at the highest mark. And this is the reason why it's so important to read in between the lines. But I'm going to let them continue to finish because this is a great question that I guess this is a senator, was asking about, aren't these conflicting interests? And let's see what the Fed says on this.
Not now, when we have the lowest unemployment in 54 years and where we have, a labor market that is extremely tight, extremely. So, but in that time could come, but it really isn't now, where we're very far from our price stability mandate, and in effect, the economy is past most estimates of maximum employment.
Thank you.
See, exactly. Once again, he did a little word salad. He didn't come out and say it, but basically what he said is like, oh, we're not worried about employment now. If we got to get an unemployment to go up and people lose their jobs, you know what? Hey, so be it. Basically what he's saying is we're well past the amount of people that need to be working when inflation is this high. We're well past it. So get ready, guys, because we're about to go on a train of layoffs.
Right now, the unemployment rate is 3.4%, which is the lowest in 54 years. And we actually don't think that we need to see a sharp or enormous increase in unemployment to get inflation under control.
I'm looking at your projections. Do you call laying off 2 million people this year not a sharp increase in unemployment?
I would say 4.5%.
Explain that to the 2 million families who are going to be out of work. We need a Fed that will fight for families. And if you're not going to lead that charge, we need someone at the Fed who will.
Let's just say that senator, I think Senator Warren is her name, let's just say she's doing, political theater here and blah, 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 right? But let's kind of look at her points of saying that, is 2 million people getting laid off a lot of people? Yes, it is a lot of people. Do you believe that you can get inflation down to 2% without laying people off?
That don't make no sense.
And the answer to that is no. The answer to that is no. And now, I do appreciate her passion of people not getting laid off. I don't think that she really understands the position that the Fed is in. Now, even though I believe that the Fed should have done this long time ago, they should have been raising rates consistently 6 months, 8 months, almost a year ago. They should have been raising rates at a more higher and more frequent situation. Instead, they were trying to tote the line of not putting us in a recession. And now it looks like we're going to be in a worse situation coming out than we were if we would have done it earlier. But I get the point. But I think that senator just does not understand, if we're only talking about what's happening today, where we at right now, there is no way that we can stop unemployment from going up. Because let's take a look at this, guys. Let's just make this really simple. If the Fed raises interest rates and companies have to borrow debt, their cost of money is going to be increased. And then on top of that, also the consumer is not spending as much with them. So we have the debt of the company, they have to pay more. and they're not bringing in as much income. Where is the company going to cut first? And if you've been watching my videos previously, you know the first thing that they cut is payroll. And they're gonna do that every time. Every single time. It doesn't really matter. They're gonna cut payroll first. They're gonna get rid of employees first. If they have to pay more in debt, and they're gonna lose demand from an income from a customer buying the things, because remember, that's what the Fed is trying to do. He's trying to slow demand on everything. So if he's trying to slow demand on everything, that means less demand for these companies, no matter what it be. It could be a car company. It could be a toy factory. It could be anything. The point is the demand is going to slow, which is less income for that company. And then their debt is more expensive also. They're going to cut. That's what's going to happen. And I think the senator just doesn't understand that the only way to get down inflation is to use this tool of raising rates. It's the most effective. It really is. Now, the question is the Fed really going to do what it says it's going to do in this video? Is it really going to do whatever it takes? Is it really going to make the hard decisions of raising rates frequently and high to slow demand down to where they could possibly see interest rates go up to 10%. Is that possible? Well, only time will tell, guys. I'm going to get off this rant because I could talk about this forever, guys. I really can. I love this stuff. But hey, guys, once again, you won't get all of your information from this one video. Please watch this video here. It will help you learn about this financial market, what's going on with the housing market, get into your first rental property. I promise you the information you will get from it will be gold. See you on the next one. Thanks.